Guys, this is my first attempt at a YouTube video. Hopefully this turns out somewhat decent. I figured I'd give it a shot, so if it doesn't turn out decent, cut me a little slack. My first topic will be over Gran Turismo 5, a game that's gotten so much hype over the years it's been developed, and after finally being released, not matched the hype it was given. But my question is this: whose hype was it? It wasn't Sony's hype. Sony simply did what they always do. They advertised one of their exclusive games. It wasn't Polyphony Digital either. All they did was simply do things like show how it was made, some of the cars they used, things that involved the development of the game. But they didn't hype it. So where did the hype come from then? Who else? The fanboys. Now I know the word fanboy gets thrown out there so much nowadays that it's almost lost its true meaning. Fanboy went from a person who highly devotes themselves towards a single subject or hobby to a person who simply disagrees with someone else. The word is now a lame attempt of an attack to another person or group of people that share a different opinion, but in this case, the word fits. The main mistake that was made by the fanboys for this particular game is that it was hyped too much before its release. This hype ended up putting a heavy load on Polyphony Digital, as now they had to make the game they wanted to, but at the same time do exactly what the fanboys said they would do. When they couldn't do what was expected of them due to what the fanboys said, the game began to get criticized for small little things instead of being seen for what it truly was: Gran Turismo. Now, we all know that no game is perfect, but when it's hyped that way, the flaws tend to stand out more. I remember hearing some people say that the reason for the delay in November for the release of this game was because the game was being perfected. Then when it came out, well, they looked like idiots. This is why it's a bad idea to overhype something, especially when it isn't even released yet. So if anyone should have been hyping Gran Turismo 5, it should have been Sony and Polyphony Digital, not the fanboys. Now, you would think that that was the only problem, but there was an even bigger problem than that. It was bad enough that the game got overhyped by the fanboys, but at the same time the game was also being compared to another game that was already released. That's right, I'm talking about Forza Motorsport, the Xbox's answer to the Gran Turismo series. There's no denying that this was a good game regardless if you're a fan of the Xbox or not. Not owning an Xbox myself, I haven't gotten a chance to play it and have only seen videos of others playing it. Now, when this game was released and turned out to be a success, that put Sony in a position to try and come up with a game to compete with it. We already knew that Gran Turismo 5 would be that game. Old school Gran Turismo fans like myself knew what to expect from that type of game. However, some people didn't. And a lot of those people decided that they would simply hype GT5 up by saying it will completely destroy Forza 3. And that was a big mistake for two main reasons. Reason one being that it would put Forza 3 as the top racing game this gen, and that GT5 had to match the game in every way. And on top of that, have things in it that Forza 3 didn't. The problem with this is that none of us really knew everything that was going to be in GT5, but some people still hyped it that way. This put GT5 in a bad spot before it was released because now everyone was expecting the perfect, flawless game that would put Forza to shame, and it didn't quite turn out that way. Now, here we are with a good game that's getting nitpicked to death due to the expectancy of perfection, something that can't be delivered as long as everyone has a different opinion. Will the reviews of this game change? Probably not. Does that mean that this game isn't any good? Definitely not. All it means is that GT5 is here and ready to be played. If anything, this should be a lesson learned about what happens when you overhype something. We have another exclusive game coming to the PlayStation 3 in a few months, Killzone 3. Let's try and not make the same mistake we did with this game because unlike GT5, Killzone 3 really has its work cut out for it. GT5 only had Forza 3 to compete with. Killzone 3, on the other hand, has to worry about Halo Reach and Call of Duty Black Ops, two very successful FPS games. Add to that this gaming gen we've been flooded with first-person shooters, which will make it harder for Killzone 3 to stand out as a good game instead of being seen as just another first-person shooter. Don't believe me? Look at MAG. If you can't help but hype this game, then only talk about what you know it has without bringing up Halo or Call of Duty. Otherwise, you end up making the same exact mistake you did with GT5.